There's this guy at my college who is literally dripping Rizz everywhere he goes. He's crushing calculus, coding apps, dominating in karate, and solving world hunger in his spare time. Meanwhile, I'm over here struggling to remember where I put my keys. What the actual hell is going on in his brain that makes him so damn good at everything? Today, I'm going to break down the neuroscience behind polymathic thinking, show you the research that will blow your mind, and give you the exact protocols to build this superpower yourself. By the end of this video, you will understand why some people are mental athletes while others are mental couch potatoes. Let's call our college hero Mr. Rizz. This dude seems impossible, right? But here is the thing. Polymathic thinking isn't some new TikTok trend. It was literally the norm back in the medieval times. People just learned stuff because they were curious. The word scientist didn't even exist until 1833. People just studied whatever interested them and never tried to specialize like insects. So what happened? Well, the Industrial Revolution happened and some motherfuckers decided to separate knowledge into different courses so they could sell them at universities and make more money. But here's the plot twist. Mr. Rizz's brain is literally running a different operating system than rest of us peasants. While your brain is like having separate apps for each subject that barely talk to each other, his brain is like having everything connected on super fast Wi-Fi. Let me break it down to you what's actually happening here. First, there is something called default mode network, your brain's background DJ. For most people, it's like local radio station playing the same genre. But for polymaths, it's like Spotify's algorithm on steroids. Constantly mixing jazz with metal, classical with experimental stuff you didn't know existed. Then there's this executive control network, basically your brain's air traffic controller. Most people's brains are like trying to juggle while riding a unicycle, but Mr. Rizz, his mental air traffic controller can manage multiple flights of thoughts simultaneously. While you are struggling to remember a math formula, he is holding that formula, thinking about its economic applications, visualizing it as art, and considering what Aristotle would think about it. And here's the kicker. His salience network is like having a supercharged relevance detector. Most people's brains have basic spam filters, but polymath spots connections everywhere. It's like having that friend who always says, hey, this reminds me of, except their brain is that friend and it's always right. Now, before you think I'm just making this up, let me hit you with the research that will absolutely blow your mind. Scientists have been literally stalking people like Mr. Rizz in labs, and the results are bonkers. UT Austin has a polymathic scholar program. USC created the Sydney Harmon Academy for polymathic thinking. These aren't just fancy names, they are based on actual research. Here's what they found. Researchers can predict creative ability from connectivity with higher accuracy. People with fluid brain connectivity, meaning less segregated neural networks, shows significantly better creative thinking. One study of 120 math teachers over 3 years showed measurable improvements in interdisciplinary thinking. But here is the game changer. Robust functional connectivity between all 4 brain hemispheres promotes better whole brain thinking. This isn't magic, people. It's measurable brain connectivity that can be developed through training. But here is why 99% of people fail at this, even when they try. And spoiler alerts, it's not because they are dumb, it's because their brains are literally fighting against them. Your brain is lazy as hell, it loves efficiency, which means it wants to create deep, narrow neural pathways instead of broad, interconnected networks. When you specialize, you are training your brain to be a Ferrari on a single highway instead of all-terrain vehicle. Your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, treats unfamiliar domains as threats. When you are comfortable with biology but encounter physics, your brain activates the same stress response if you were facing a predator. Most people quit before pushing through this fear response. Polymathic thinking requires delayed gratification, but our dopamine systems want immediate rewards. When you specialize, you get quick wins. When you try to connect domains, the payoff is unclear and distant. Without immediate dopamine hits, motivation dies. Add social validation addiction, educational system sabotage, perfectionism paralysis, and stress creativity killers, and you've got a recipe for failure. The reason most people fail isn't lack of intelligence. They are fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming. But here's the beautiful thing about neural plasticity. If Mr. Rizz can rewire his brain to think like this, so can you. The same evolutionary programming that creates these barriers can be hacked and redirected. Alright, enough problems. So how can we actually do this? Let's be a bit solution oriented and build your own polymathic brain here. Mr. Rizz's actual playbook backed by neuroscience. Every morning, Mr. Rizz does brain dating for 20 minutes. He picks two completely unrelated concepts and forces them to have a conversation. Math equations meet poetry. Biology principles chat with business strategies. This trains your default mode network to make cross-domain connections. He never learns just one thing. For every new concept, three related examples, two analogies from different domains, one practical application. This creates multiple neural pathways to the same concept. Every week, he deliberately tries something he'll suck at for exactly 30 minutes, badly, on purpose. This trains his brain to disassociate unfamiliarity from danger. After 8 to 10 weeks, his amygdala stops treating new domains as threats. Daily cognitive juggling, holding multiple unrelated concepts simultaneously. Start with 3 concepts for 10 minutes. As your prefrontal cortex strengthens, add more. After 6 months, he can hold 7 to 8 different domain concepts without cognitive overload. Since polymathic thinking does not provide immediate rewards, he created artificial dopamine triggers. Every cross-domain connection gets rated between 1 to 10. Connections rated 7 plus gets a small reward. This trains his brain to crave these connections more. Here is his exact daily routine that built this superpower. Morning, 20 minutes cross-domain connections. Midday, 15 minutes pattern hunting. Evening, 10 minutes failed skill attempts. Weekly, 60 minutes integration sessions. Monthly, half-day deep reflection. The milestones. Month 1, 3 cross-domain connections daily. Month 2, explain one domain using another's vocabulary. Month 3, solve problems by borrowing solutions from unrelated fields. Month 6, integrate insights from 3 plus domain real time. Month 12, cross-domain thinking becomes default mode network. Bingo. Look, Mr. Rizz didn't become polymathic overnight. It took 18 months of consistent practice. The first 3 months were brutal. His brain fought him every step. But once the neural pathways solidified, polymathic thinking became as natural as breathing. The key insight, you are not forcing your brain to be polymathic. You are gradually training it to see polymathic thinking as safe, normal, and rewarding. Work with your neural biology, not against it. Mr. Rizz's superpower isn't genetic luck, it's systematically applied neuroscience. He turned polymathic thinking from a random talent into a reproducible skill. His brain is literally different now, and yours can be too. The research is clear and the protocol works, and the only question left is, are you going to stay a mental couch potato, or are you going to build a brain that can dominate multiple domains? If this video just rewired your understanding of what's possible, smash that like button to tell YouTube's algorithm that polymathic thinking is the future. Subscribe if you want more science-backed methods to upgrade your brain, and drop a comment telling me which protocol you are going to try first. Remember, the future belongs to journalists who can think across domains, not specialists locked in single lanes. Time to build your own Renaissance brain. Till then, keep thinking.